park like 3 or 4 cars and...
We can get started.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and get started, so we'll just stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance at 6:05. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody. Sorry about that. So we're missing Shannon tonight.
So who will be doing the minutes?
So I can do the minutes.
I could try, I realized.
We don't have to do the minutes live. I can do them later.
Yeah, I can do the minutes too. I won't be able to do them until Friday.
That's fine. Do you
Okay.
want to do them?
Yeah, so I'll do them.
Pam will do our minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm like a terrible minute person.
And we'll just go through real fast. The approve of the minutes of May 6th, which I don't believe we had any.
There was, I checked my notes, there was some back and forth, but no,
But the final draft that
was posted.
was posted
was
is
fine.
approved.
Yes.
Motion,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
And so moved. Minutes there. And Pam, I'll let you do the update on our EP grant.
So, as you recall, we reviewed, at our last CAC meeting in May, we reviewed a map of the draft map of a possible EP district
Yeah.
that had been prepared by the consultants. And we compared that map to the maps that were produced by the NRI. We got back to the consultants and asked them to prepare a more detailed map so that we could see exactly which NRI maps were being used how. And I wrote a note to them right after our meeting. I also, a few days after the meeting, drafted and sent to them kind of a summary of how I thought the NRI might be used in the project. What we got back from them yesterday was not the map that we requested, but instead a more detailed explanation of what it is that they're doing and how they're incorporating the NRI maps into the proposed EP district. We also got a table of contents that shows more of an outline of the parts that they expect to have in their final report. So it was more work product. It wasn't what we expected, but it moved the ball forward as far as I can tell. Susan, you weren't on, I'll send you I can provide you a copy.
Yeah, I have a copy.
Of what, this is the.
Oh, this is their draft. Okay.
This is what they just sent us.
This is what they just sent us. And so we're sort of, I think, we kind of have to wait for them to finish their work to assess it at this point.
Right.
I mean, I wish they were farther along, to be candid.
Yes.
But they seem to be very much in midstream, and Margaret, I don't know. Do you have any further thought? Any additional thoughts? Do you need more time to take a look at what they produced?
I had a quick run through it. It reminds me of doing the NRI, but just being a part of the process that you just have to kind of go through each step and let them get through their steps.
Right.
And it all looks great. I mean, it's all self-explanatory. It makes sense.
It is. I think it will ultimately be a very high quality product.
Yeah.
The language is very good.
Yeah.
The language
and it's clear.
Is strong.
Yeah, it's very clear.
I think we'll need to see what the development guidelines are, because they are looking at including, forest blocks, steep slopes, which will include significant sections of the town.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So and they say in a number of places, consistent with our mandate, that we're not going to stop development anywhere. The idea is to focus it in a mindful way.
Right. So, yeah, I think it's coming along. It's just a little, as you say, a little slower than anticipated.
Should we get back to them with specific comments after we've gone had
Yeah,
a chance to
I
go
think
through it?
if we all go through it again, and Shannon, when she's not working, because I know she's busy right now, she may have comments that she might like to
and
tell
Tim
to
is
say.
Tim as well.
Yeah, who may appear right now. Is it Tim?
I have a question.
It
It
is.
is. Hi, Tim.
Hey, Tim.
Does it supersede the existing maps and so on, or I thought I read it and it said it didn't
It
supersede
just
them?
supplements them, I
You
think.
s-
Yeah,
sup-
That's the
so
it's a
if
intention.
supplement,
you had
yeah.
lived in a district that was not on their map, but let's say you had a wetland there,
Good, how are you?
they would still include the wetland in the review.
Yes.
That's right.
Okay.
Yes.
That's what I thought
Yeah, I think
said.
what it said is we have the layers, the other layers, and that you would still use those layers, wetlands,
So,
for
well,
instance.
we had just gotten going on discussing the update from the consultant that we got yesterday.
Okay.
And, as you remember, we went through the work product at the prior meeting and asked them to produce a map that better linked the NRI to the EP district that they were considering. And instead, what they got back to us with was a more detailed explanation of their methodology instead of an additional maps. So we were pondering next steps for us. And maybe we wanted to get back to them with some sort of thinking about it. And maybe we'd all be in a position to do that later this week, since we just got the document yesterday. Does
So-
that make sense?
Yeah.
That makes sense to me.
All right, so we'll regroup on our thoughts and let each other know,
So
so that we can get back to them. And we have a meeting with them.
we have nothing.
Nothing scheduled. Okay.
We have
So-
nothing scheduled.
So we have time to do this before we have a scheduled meeting.
Yeah, so maybe if I could ask people to give me their thoughts on what I sent out yesterday from them, on the thoughts on their document by, like Tuesday of next week?
Yeah, I think
That's a week?
that gives us a whole week, right?
It gives you a week. And I'll communicate that to Shannon as well.
Yes.
To make sure that she's got her thoughts. So it's helpful feedback, Margaret, to hear that this is similar to an iterative process that you
Oh, yeah.
went through on the NRI.
Oh, yeah, it's 100%. It's a process.
Because I'm kind of new to this.
I know, and it's kind of nerve-wracking, I know, but it is it is part of the process when you have to let other people do their work.
Yes,
So that is the 9th, right?
okay.
Yeah, Tuesday the 9th. Alrighty, thank you, Pam. And a quick update on, I did print out what was I doing? Some map for the building department. And double checked on the aquifers, and, this is the link, the old 1989 aquifer map is the link that they have in the code. This is, which is our aquifer map. This one, I'm going to give all these to you. This one is the one that the building department uses for their aquifer.
This
And-
looks like the NRI map.
And this one is the NRI map. So,
Oh. So where does this come from then? We don't know.
that was a Cornell map.
That's the one I'm interrupting, was
From
used in the
20
village.
2021.
Was that the one that was used in
Yeah,
the village?
the last one.
Oh,
So this
one.
is, yes, so they probably used it for their NRI. This is our NRI map that we found that the water map was more important than the aquifer map, the drinking water. The first colored map is the one that the building inspector has upstairs to view for the public. The black and white map is technically the one that is still the town's
That's the one that's
official
linked in our code.
official code map. Yes, which, as you can see, it doesn't show much detail, and all the others show the other recharge areas that are slightly more important to the flow.
Well, I think that we want to update this. of
So that
course,
is.
But I think that my sense is, my instinct is that will require an amendment to the local law,
Correct.
which is not necessarily a big
Correct.
deal.
No,
But, unless people want to make it a big deal.
it's a process, and it's a process that the town and its residents have to make a decision on.
Right, and I think that, all these other NRI maps are part of the code now, and it would just seem to make sense that we incorporate this
And
one
have
as
this,
well.
and have that is.
So, yeah, so I think that would be a really good idea. I will see. There's a couple of things. Maybe what I'll do, this one I think is quite important. Maybe we should do this as a standalone, but I'm just finding things that maybe
There,
need
yeah.
attention.
Yeah, and then we still have our red line code update. Did you get anything with that?
Well, what's happened with that is that the town board meeting happened after our last discussion.
Yep.
I had a lengthy discussion at that meeting, or was it the meeting before? But anyways, I'm trying to recall now, because what happened between then is, I got an email, so I had a discussion, and they didn't have the usual town attorney, Kyle Barnett. There was this guy named Ross Gold.
Okay.
And so I explained the situation, and, he's not really well informed on this, being a substitute.
Yeah.
So he said he'd report back to Kyle. I followed up, like a day or so after that with an email about, okay, let me just backtrack a little bit. So about 3 o'clock on the day of the town board meeting, there was an email from Kyle, the town attorney. And the email said something, it was kind of indeterminate, and it was implying, my interpretation of it was that the town should take some efforts to help determine where the discrepancies are. And I think that's kind of ridiculous, because it's, well, right, because what happened, from what I can tell, is that the people that were involved in the code revision were General Code and then Vandewater, Kyle Barnett's firm. So they're the ones, somebody uploaded something, and they were paid maybe $7,500 for the work they performed on this. So I assume that there's got to be something that they did. So I emailed him like a day or so after the town board meeting. I've not heard back since. I will email tomorrow and follow up on this. 'Cause
Okay.
I just, I don't think that this should be something that we should be wandering around aimlessly trying to figure out, when the answers, somebody's got the answers.
Well, somebody's got the answers, and my offer of volunteer legal assistant stands to help out. So
I think that's,
it should not
that's
be
great.
it should not be a cost issue.
Mm-mm.
It shouldn't be. But I also, too, I don't think that we should be spinning our wheels trying to find out where these,
An answer.
somebody made affirmative changes, and I'm not saying that there was any
No.
bad thing that happened,
I
but
don't
they
think
made
so.
decisions, and that has to be recorded somewhere.
And there maybe things were dropped. Maybe the review process wasn't as thorough as it should have been. I mean,
I think there's some of that.
Yeah.
Well, as I remember, I think the attorney was Joel Ariel. I think that was
Yeah.
his
It
Right,
was-
yeah,
it was
he's
Joe.
gone from.
He's gone,
Yeah.
but it suddenly just appeared out of thin air and went right to the town board. As I remember, I could be wrong, and the town board simply approved it.
Yeah, that's basically, I saw the meeting. Yeah.
And we don't, and we wanted a clarification as to, what happened to the original language that was done in public. Not something that was spun out by one person without any public input. And so that's where it is. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, because you spoke at the meeting and you know more about it than I do. No, you do. I think one of the things that came out of that meeting was that the CAC should not be the one doing the update. It should be lawyers doing it.
Well, I think that
that's
I
in the
agree
record
with
somewhere.
it, actually. I mean,
No, I
I
understand.
We could be
appreciate,
involved, but
Yeah.
but they should be lawyers
Right.
basically leading the update.
Well, I think, I think for a lot of reasons. And what I remember when the law was being, was when they revealed this local law that they were going to adopt, that what they did was they put on as a 400-page document on the town's website, the new code, as a PDF or something
Yes,
like that.
yes.
Yes.
But it still didn't explain the
Right.
differences.
Right.
Now, I think what Joel did, he just tried to match best he could what was in the old code to the new language. Whether
Yeah.
it was an exact interpretation of the new language,
Right,
old code to
right.
new, that we don't know.
Right.
Because some of the language was very, very specific. It was
Mhm.
crafted purposely to read a certain
Right.
way.
Right, exactly.
And from what I understood is they were like, oh, well, they took the example wording and kind of just used that wording because it was close enough. And it was like, no, you're supposed to use our wording, or we are allowed to check the wording, the town, the residents, and say, yes, no, that's a good change, that's a bad change,
There could be material changes.
That's what we don't know. So that's,
That's the issue.
Right.
Our wording was very specifically crafted
yeah.
to achieve a certain result. And you all know better than I do, when you have small changes in wording, it sometimes makes a big difference in the
Oh,
outcome.
please.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I know.
So-
I know.
All right, so we'll
I'll keep on that.
Wait,
and,
see what
Thank you.
happens, see how that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And planning board, ZB updates, we don't really have anything because,
Was anybody able to log into that?
anybody see the
board
planning
meeting?
board? Are
Well,
you on
last
the,
night, I was there. I was
are
there
you there,
yesterday.
the
I'm not-
liaison?
Yeah, I was
Okay.
the liaison.
So
Can
were
you tell us-
actually physically there?
Because Howard couldn't get on the live link.
Oh,
That's-
really?
so
What
they-
happened? What happened, Howard? Because you've been
Well,
able
I
to get
clicked on the
other
live
ones.
link like I always
I'll
do.
let you talk for a minute.
And
I'll look at it.
last time when I clicked on the live link in the month before, it said waiting or something like that. And there was a little box there.
Mhm.
And then at the moment the meeting started, the box became literally live. You could see everybody.
Right.
This did not happen for me this time. I don't know if it
All right,
was
I'll
me
check it out
or
with Lisa.
And I'm not sure she clicked it because if you, when I went to look at it, and it doesn't show it to me right now, but it says scheduled for the
Yes.
planning board. It doesn't say
But it doesn't start.
completed, started, nothing. So I thought it would show me just then, but it didn't.
All
really.
right,
So
well-
she might not have clicked the live link.
Right.
no, I clicked the live link. The
No,
other-
not you, not you.
Lisa, the planning
Lisa, the
board.
planning board
Oh,
secretary, so
I-
she might not have initiated
I
it.
will try and tell you as best.
Yeah, yeah,
and-
just give
and-
us a
And
run
I
through it.
I really wish that I had a better handle on some of these matters, because I have this chunk of work that I have over the next few weeks. I'm just trying to, so I haven't been able to focus on this. But there was 20 Wellwyn, which was a proposed B&B.
Mhm.
And on that proposed B&B, the guy who was the owner, he said that one of the questions, Aaron from AKRF wrote a memo, and one of the issues that he had was that he wanted to know, they didn't specify where the owner would be living on
Oh,
the
right.
premises. And the owner said that he actually has a Manhattan address. So he's not really, he was saying he's sometimes there, he has two residences.
Right.
But, and it doesn't necessarily have to be, it doesn't say that it has to be your primary residence, but the planning board was concerned because if you're running a B&B, it's like you have to, who's
You have
gonna
to
make
be there.
breakfast?
Yeah, you have to be there. Yeah, you have to be
So-
there.
So that was kind of, I don't know that he's gonna be back. I don't think he is. There was a hearing on Mima's house, which is it 371, 369 North Tower Road? I'm not sure precisely what the address is. And they wanted to get approval for this, another dwelling, basically.
Mhm.
And there was a lot of back and forth. This has been going on for a couple meetings, and honestly, I have not nailed down what the facts are on this. I know that one of the planning board members, what is her first name? Her last name is Hall. The owner acquired some additional acreage, and apparently they had the foundation of one dwelling when they purchased it, and they built another dwelling, not on the foundation. And then they had like 15 acres, and now they've built some additional acres, or they've purchased additional acres. And so now they have like 20 plus. And they want to put this, I don't know, there's something about like something happened, this was I don't know, I'm very confused. Because it sounded like it was a foundation, and now they're talking about it being a building. And that somehow had some damage caused to it over the winter. I mean, so I wish I could be more articulate.
So we'll
about
just
this.
wait for the video to get
But
onto
there might
that.
not be any video on it.
Well, no, the video was recorded and uploaded,
Oh, I
but it's
see.
not been
Okay, so-
uploaded to the.
Gotcha, okay.
You sure it's uploaded? It
But-
just said it
No, no,
was-
no, no. I witnessed. I took the little card out where they uploaded it, and it said upload complete. So
Yes,
that means
that-
they've sent it
I'm not
to
gonna-
they've sent it to
We'll-
IT.
we'll see what
IT
happens
has to
now.
upload it to the website.
You're the
So-
one that runs that stuff.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna
yeah, yeah, it's-
supersede.
So-
Yeah, it will be uploaded. I'll just say that.
So this has been approved anyway. I mean, they
Okay.
adopted it. So they're allowing this dwelling to be reconstructed or whatever. And
Okay.
there was one neighbor that spoke. They have a shared driveway, and she's very upset because apparently that driveway is blocked. Her husband is a volunteer fireman.
Oh.
And, yeah, so it's not insignificant. And apparently there might be family members, other family members that might be part of the fire department as well. And, you know, there's obviously bad blood between these two neighbors. And so, you know, there's an easement on the property. So I think the neighbor is the one that has the easement that goes over the Nina's house farm
Oh, okay.
property. So ultimately, our council just said, look, that's a private matter that's going to be resolved, and this might not be the forum for that, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, what else? There was something else.
So, yeah, I mean, those two, I don't think presented, at least reading the documents, didn't present any environmental issues.
Right. That's
There was an application relating to some camping.
Well,
yeah.
this is
That's
crazy.
the farm. Yeah, that's the farm in
on
Shunpike.
Yeah,
the Shunpike
in
Farm.
Lithgow, yeah.
So is that?
No, that's not. I don't think it's in Lithgow. I thought it was
It-
near
it-
82. No, it's not. Okay.
It's
In Lithgow, okay.
it's sort of the old Shunpike, near the old Shunpike Dairy.
Yeah, right on 44 in
Okay, I
in
was
the
thinking
Shunpike.
it was like
Yeah,
okay, the other part.
Millbrook
Beef and dairy.
Beef and Dairy now, yeah.
Is that the property that they're looking to do
Mhm.
that on?
Yeah, down in the corner.
Way in the back.
Yeah.
As part of the Millbrook Beef and Dairy property?
Yes.
Yeah, the same general area.
Yeah, it's them. It's
Yeah.
that property.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, interesting. So, yeah, so they want to do, they wanted to start out with a couple of yurts.
Yeah.
And then also an A-frame, but they might want to expand to more yurts.
Mm-hmm.
And so they did not, Aaron had not done a memorandum on this, and this is the first time that Hannah Atkinson, the attorney, is looking at it, and they're very unclear about the law and what
The applicant, or
about what the law says regarding these transient types of activities.
Is this the one that was listed as a private camp?
I think so.
Yeah. So I think they probably worded it as a private camp because you could have those. Because you can't have a public,
As in
in tents and RVs and stuff like that. So that's probably why they put it in as a private camp.
Right.
But a
right.
private camp is actually, technically, I think when you have a family camp or something like,
Like a church group or
the church
something,
group, I'm just trying
having
to think,
like
the Boy Scouts, like they're Boy Scouts.
Right.
So I think that's a private, so it's like an organization or for your own family use.
Well, this would really be public.
It's actually, yeah, this is actually
So it's
a
not a private
bed and
camp.
breakfast type.
Right, right.
Or not.
Or a short-term rental.
Short-term rental is what
Right.
it is technically what it is.
So, we also do have a provision that was put in, and I don't know how it impacts this, how it impacts any kind of analysis for glamping.
Right, and then
But
it's
glamping
technically,
is not, it's not listed as a permitted or special permit use in any of the tables, the use tables that are in the zoning code, so that's kind of a mystery.
right.
So,
That
it was
came up
kind of
before
left,
glamping, and the
Yeah.
town board disallowed it at the time.
I kind of
It's,
remember
it's,
something
it's,
like
it's
that,
written in
too.
the short-term rental that it's not allowed, right?
I thought
I think it
came up
is.
in that or the hospitality law, but it's
It could be in
new. The
yeah.
definition is new. And I know under the hospitality law, it's not permitted.
Correct.
But
Yeah.
so if you were in that overlay, which this is not.
Right.
So
No,
does
it's
that mean
not.
it's allowed? I mean, that's kind of crazy, but,
Mm.
who knows?
So the other thing, there is a stream that goes through the property,
Mhm.
and
That's
so,
right.
Yeah, that's
And-
we're talking about the
so that would be.
the Bonnie in there, the Bonnie's in.
So that would be to make sure that there's all of this, they had, at least the map that I saw had the proposed camps outside the 100-foot.
Yeah.
He
said he was they said they were on the
Someplace
other
it said to
side
be
of the-
determined. I have the note somewhere that, from the
okay.
internet, not me. There's a note someplace on the internet that said that is to be determined at the next meeting. That's come up with that. That's, if it's the same one that we're talking about, the Bonnie's Inn, I think that's the name of it, Bonnie's Inn, Bed and Breakfast.
No,
No.
I think that
that
was.
one's coming up in July again. And that one has possible wetlands on it, and that they have to be a little more specific if the wetlands is in the 100-foot buffer, or, what's what, and that was put off till July. That's the Bonnie's Inn
Where'd you
Bed
get
and
that
Breakfast
information?
on
If you
Wyland
didn't see that, if
Road.
you didn't, oh, no, this is not, this is on Shunpike.
Okay.
That was the first one I was talking about, the
Okay.
one where the guy lives in
Metcalf
New
is
York.
on. You get the
So I think it's Metcalf,
Yeah,
actually.
Metcalf. They want a porch to go around the house and stuff like that.
So it sounded like the Shunpike will be coming back for another meeting.
Yeah, I
Yes.
think that they have to identify more about, what provisions apply. And it seemed that the guy who was presenting it, and I don't know who he is, he was not certain on everything that was
Mhm.
being asked, so I think those are,
So-
I keep feeling like there's something else.
I've been involved in a few of those because it's something that became kind of trendy a few
Mhm.
years ago. They were very popular. And in my experience, a thing that becomes difficult for them as the applicant or someone, it's the type of thing that sounds fairly simple, like, oh, this beautiful farm, like we make some campsites. From what I've seen, it's like the Board of Health part,
Yeah.
because it looks nice, like some simple campsites, and but when you have a certain number, the Board of Health requires,
To the
and it
point.
gets pretty fast into building bathrooms, and bathrooms are extremely expensive if they're out in the middle of nowhere, because
Yeah.
and it's often and then they need a septic system, and it becomes very expensive very fast, and not quite so this kind of idea, oh, we'll just have this little fun little camp, and
Yeah.
but that stuff costs a lot of money, and it seems simple when you go to a state park, but even they have,
I
those.
think if you get a speedies permit, or, you know. for-
Yeah, it's the Board of Health part with the bathrooms is often has put taken the wind out of a lot of the projects that
Yeah.
I've seen people get, because they were very, as I said, there'd be like people would come up here and they're like, oh, we're going to start this glamping place and here's the picture of what the tent's going to look like, and then when they get to the bathroom part and what they have to do for the Board of Health, it becomes very expensive very quickly.
I bet.
To put a bathroom in and get it has potable water and electric to that facility and waste and septic, and it gets just super expensive super fast. So
Interesting.
it becomes a difficult part of that type of projects.
Yeah.
So I think that they're going to be back with a revised plan. And then I remembered the other one was Silverbrook Manor.
Yep,
Yes.
Silverbrook. That's right.
So Silverbrook was, they were appearing as in a pre-application capacity, just sort of like talking it out kind of thing. Where Jonathan Ialongo, in his capacity as the zoning administrator, issued a letter. I don't know exactly if it was a cease and desist letter. I didn't see it, but so when he said, well, why don't you go to the planning board and figure it out? Apparently there was a complaint about whatever was going on.
Oh, so this was probably before Jonathan. This was probably James that did this.
No, I think it was
Really?
Jonathan. Yeah, this happened recently.
So they were doing something again that they weren't supposed to be doing?
Oh, I don't know. Apparently, no,
Because they were doing
the letter is not
they were
part-
doing glamping around COVID.
No, it wasn't clamping. No.
Okay.
No, and they were emphatic about they don't want to do glamping, and so they want to. As I understand, and I didn't see the letter. The letter's not part of the record. So, but what was somebody made a complaint that they were operating for profit, like a business. And apparently what they're doing is they're charging $25 to take tours of what they're doing and their farm, and they're also and it was unclear to me from the discussion whether they actually initiated this or they're intending to do kind of like a hybrid CSA where
That's right. It was a CSA.
where they want to have people actually come and till the land and
do the
get
work.
along.
And do
Yeah.
the work.
Do
yeah.
the work.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So
And
that part of the application seemed different from other
Yeah.
iterations.
right. So, then there was a discussion, of course, that came up and then they also wanted to, because I don't remember what her name is. There were two applicants, husband and wife, and she is head of some not-for-profit organization, the Taste and Smell, whatever. I don't know exactly what it's called. And so she wanted to be able to cook, to have cooking to do, so people can experience not only just picking but also eating, and so according to, and I don't know, I'd like to research this, but according to some of the planning board members, this is agricultural in nature and therefore it's okay, as part of an agricultural function. I think the one precedent in this town for that, of course, is Stonewood.
Yeah.
Right.
What they were doing reminded me a lot of Stonewood.
Right,
Yeah.
right, exactly. Now, I don't know what the approvals are for Stonewood, but this is the problem. I mean, if it's okay, it's great, but if it's not, that's what happens when, when you allow
Yeah.
things for people you like,
And
Then you
it's
have
such a
to
precedent,
you have to allow it for everybody.
yes.
Let's think of how this works. Well, so I remember them going to Stonewood and telling them you don't have the authorization for this, and that they had to meet.
I kind of remember.
They had to meet the criteria with the Board of Health at least, and I don't even know if anything happened with that. So that would be the same thing that these people would have to do.
Oh, you mean for having a kitchen?
To be serving food.
Right, oh, yeah.
You
Yeah.
can't just serve food somewhere
I mean,
in New York. There are other states you can.
Right, and when does it cross the line and become a restaurant?
Yeah, just because
you know?
just because it's agricultural doesn't mean that you can do the other things with it.
Right. And
So-
so I don't know, but I
There weren't any wetlands on the property, you know,
Yeah.
No.
It didn't seem to raise.
No, no. There's a stream that has nothing to do with
Yeah.
what they're trying to accomplish.
Right,
It's just an interesting
right.
conversation.
But there, and also too, there was a discussion about
Just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing anything.
No,
Right.
no. It's just
There
an
was-
interesting discussion.
Okay.
there was they also said that there was going to be like 15 to possibly 50 people attending these functions, and of course some of the planning board members are going 50. I mean, it's not an insignificant number. So
They got plenty of land to park.
Yeah, well,
And they're on 44 anyway.
They're right on 44.
right. Well, they
Got-
were thinking about using their Terrell entrance. They also have
On the other
access
side,
on-
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And one planning board member was like, "That's a small road that has no center line or anything." So I don't know about that. I think that so their next step is I think that they're going back to Jonathan and to see if they may want to get an interpretation of the law. Of course, it's going to end up before the zoning board.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
And so that will be interesting. And then if they have that, and then if, so we'll see if they do that.
Should be interesting
Yeah.
to see the further development.
Right.
Anything else from your notes, Howard?
Okay, everything is good. The other one was I think it came from the ARC people. They gave a list of what is needed.
Yeah.
And Bonnie's Inn
Right.
may need a wetlands permit because there's a perennial stream there.
That's right. That's right.
And they're coming next month again.
Yep.
Now, we've had trouble, if I remember correctly, and I have to say if I remember because my memory is not what it used to be, I'm the first one to admit it. There used to be trouble with that perennial stream or permanent stream on that property previously.
Mm-hmm.
And they had to put a septic system in possibly. And so this is all going to come up again. What do you do with that stream, which is on that property, and it's pretty close to where the buildings are and so on. There was a lot of discussion previously about that. That would be a CAC thing.
Yep.
That would be us, so we'd be involved
Yep.
in that.
We'll all investigate and look into
was
that.
back in like 22 or something. There was like, this B&B, that's like right across the street from where the monument
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yes.
that's the one.
or nearby, and there was a big flood for some of the houses there. I mean, it was like somebody had they had on YouTube this video, this
Yeah.
water swirling around
Yeah.
their house. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah, the
Yeah.
monument area is
Right.
Because that is
problem.
a lower area
Yes.
with the stream going.
Because
And they
that
also, I
stream
think it's
comes from up
constricted
above on.
where the culvert and the underpass
Yeah,
is for.
that's the
Yeah,
one.
Yeah.
exactly.
And
All right.
so that's going to come up next month again.
Yeah,
And
we'll be prepared.
be prepared for. Yeah.
All right. Anything else from you? Nope. Okay, good. And then we have.
Oh, I have another thing that didn't.
no.
I'll be
No,
brief.
go ahead. Be brief.
The town board meeting.
Oh, okay. I
Uh-oh.
forgot about the town board
Yeah.
meeting. Go ahead.
Mike Murphy described the town park as, if I recall correctly, as
Which
a
was the
gold
next
mine
thing
for
we
the
were gonna
town.
talk about.
Okay, very good timing.
And you were involved in a lot of that discussion, if I recall. 403C possibly for the project. It's going to have a major effect on Mabus. So this is just quick. The meeting went on for quite a while. Mike Murphy's a good presenter. He was very thorough.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't believe Mike is an environmentalist at heart. I think he's a developer at heart. So he emphasized more of the physical things that happen there. Didn't say too much about the environment. The tennis courts, the pool, a second entrance onto
Little Rest.
Little
Little
Rest.
rest.
Yeah.
All of those things came up. And then there was a list of committees that was rather interesting that they were in his report. I think everybody got a copy
Yep,
of that
we-
report
yeah, we've been-
eventually, that thing.
Yep.
It's interesting to see who is on the same committees.
Tim's wife is on one of them,
Mhm.
Yeah.
so.
Yep.
Who?
I saw that.
Tim's
Tim's wife.
is on.
Oh, okay.
Heather.
Oh.
Heather Blakey.
Okay.
Heather's
Oh.
on the committee.
Oh, maybe we could get some intel here.
Right.
Yeah. Well, the
Insight.
insights I found
Right.
interesting was the Mike and George commit that names for being on the committee. Anybody doesn't know who Mike and George are, it's Mike Murphy and George Whalen on those committees that had to do with financing and so on.
Right.
They were the ones doing that, and it's all in that report, wherever that report
Yeah,
is
yeah.
now. I think
Yep, we all had to read
find
through
rather
it.
interesting. The problem is for us, the CAC, is someplace down the line, this is going to have a major effect on development in that area. Probably at the expense of the environment. If that grows big enough, you might wind up with a second town center out there, which was explicitly not wanted when we did the last master plan. So this project could be larger than we might have envisioned when we first heard about it. And they're proposing to hire a firm, if I remember correctly, professional firm to help with the planning. Now, I imagine when you hire a firm to help with the planning, you tell them what you want, and then they help plan it. Isn't that the way it normally works?
Well, it depends what the, what their assignment is.
Yeah. It's the same as
It could be an assignment where you say, we need some ideas about the best use of this property.
Alright.
Or it can be,
Well, that's what
we
you folks would
want,
know.
we want
fit this,
a
this,
pool
and, yeah,
with,
fit this,
you know,
this, and
Right,
this.
Right.
Howard's on the side of he thinks they're gonna say, we want this, this, and this, you make it work.
Yeah,
That's how Howard thinks.
Because I've seen that happen before. That's the only reason I'm on that side. The other interesting thing was the use of parking. Where are they going to park all these cars on that are supposedly going to be coming there? And the other road coming in from Little Rest Road, which has some trees and stuff on it. There's very little, what I found, very little mention of the environment in there.
That's, well,
What reminds me of when they did the affordable rentals, the short-term rentals. I was a little more involved in that one than I was involved in this, and it was my opinion, this is again my opinion, that we have one of the worst short-term rental laws around when I read the different laws. It's very brief, least amount of time you have to live in the property, the most that you could do with the property. Coincidentally, Mike Murphy was on that one too. Now, his experience in that, because he had 2 short-term rentals elsewhere, so he had a pretty good idea how everything worked. I felt that we dropped, personally, again, me, I'm on a committee, I can say things. I felt we could have had a more environmentally friendly one. And there was neighbors on, I forgot the name of the road, but it's 2 neighbors right next to where some of these short-term rentals were occurring. They complained bitterly about it to the board. That their privacy was totally violated by people coming in, making lots of noise, and then they would leave. And they were the property right next to it, and there was very little provision to protect them. I did not see any long-term provisions for the short-term rentals in our law. In fact, most of the short-term rental meetings took place without people knowing they took place.
right,
Nobody was aware of the timetables that they met for 2 years on this.
yeah.
Although at the end, they claimed that the public was involved, and that was, to my way of looking at it, not involved, because the public would have wanted a more stringent short-term rental law.
Well,
So I'm afraid that this is,
It's
let
gonna
me ask
repeat
you a
itself.
question about, like, these meetings that this recreation committee held. Were they publicly noticed?
No.
I don't think so.
they claimed they were, but nobody could find any records of them.
So, they weren't, and they've been told that they're supposed to be open meetings, and they somehow think that they don't apply because they're the rec.
No, that's just not true.
I know.
I'd like to know what everybody else, I have my thoughts, of course, but I'd
Well,
like to hear.
I think the majority of us would like them all to be open so that we know what they're talking about.
Oh, I mean, yes, of course.
Oh, okay.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
I think it's a
Like-
given, but I mean.
I mean, we know we can get secrets in,
Right, right.
but that's not
Right,
really,
right,
that's not
right,
really
of
what
course.
the majority of people want.
Well, so, let me, the report itself, what do you guys think?
It's preliminary,
Yeah,
right?
it's
Right,
very,
right.
very
Very
preliminary.
preliminary.
Well, I think they're going to want to take action. They say final report. That doesn't say preliminary report.
Well, this is their final on the preliminary, but Tim may know more than
Yeah.
us.
No, I don't, I mean, I don't think
Obviously,
I
they
know.
don't talk about this at their house.
No. Yeah, I know it was, they had, part of it, I know they were reaching out for public input, and that was what this part of the report had, like some of the ideas that, what was the,
There was a
There was a-
survey.
The
a survey
survey
that
that-
And the
was-
sticky notes on
I,
community.
yeah,
room.
Right.
I don't remember any of this happening, but
yeah, I think it was, I don't remember hearing about, or when it was from Community Day? Is
Yeah,
that what
Community
Yeah, when they
Day.
did,
Yeah.
they had the sticky notes, and then they had an online survey, which
Which
that was
they-
nice.
I mean,
No,
there
but-
were a lot of ideas there, things like the stream and enhancing fishing, so there was some nod to environmental issues, but there wasn't a lot of detail. I mean, for example, I know that we're all concerned about expanding access on Little Rest Road and what that might mean for trees. There's no detail in there to know.
and the bear goes through there. That's the bear's path, that where those trees are, just so y'all know.
Yeah.
There's a big sign up by the soccer fields, bears,
No, the bear goes through there because it comes through my backyard.
It is-
It comes through the stream through there.
Right.
The idea of modernizing the pool is a very worthwhile goal.
Mhm.
So, but leveraging that to do the rest of this, there's just not enough here to really comment on. So,
Well,
I don't
that's
know.
what they're hiring the firm for, if I remember correctly.
No, I think they're
No.
hiring the firm to implement, they have recommendations at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And, they want to do a new pool seems to be the primary thing.
it's
The thing is that there's no, I mean, from my vantage point, there's no discussion and that leads you to that conclusion. Why? Why do they conclude that? Because you're right, I read those comments. Some of that data was totally illegible, those graphs, those bar charts.
Yeah, they mean
I couldn't read
kind of
it.
mean nothing.
Right.
so the other
But the
question-
comments had everything. They had people wanted fishing and ice skating and hiking trails, community gardens, dog parks, all sorts of things. I would not say that there was a single
comment.
clamoring for replacing
Replace
the
the
pool.
pool. I
And then
know.
some people wanted it upgraded, some people wanted it replaced, some people wanted a Olympic-sized indoor pool. I mean, so you've got to have the whole gamut. So how do you get from that to this?
Yeah, you got to narrow it down. So it seems like to me that a lot of people just want a Olympic-size concrete pool and a splash pad,
Right.
and this is just their way of getting that in there. But it's not one of the things that, as you say, no one requests that. That's not the priority. That's not anything that anybody says, oh yeah, let's remove the pond pool
Right.
that a lot of people like and change it to this other thing that is it.
And how are they gonna raise the money? That's the other thing.
Well, they're going to have a committee that raises the money,
Money.
and they're going to get a grant
But
and
there's
private
no-
donations.
So private donations, I mean, if they can, I don't know how they're gonna raise the money
I-
with private donations for the pool.
Listen, I got to tell you, my feeling is that I don't see. I mean, I had a lengthy discussion with Danielle, the rec director.
Mhm.
Danielle said that she has familiarity with grants writing, that she did do a CBDB grant for, I guess she was in Pleasant Valley as the
Mhm.
assistant rec director for bathrooms.
Mhm.
And she said that we are not able to get grants for this if we wanted to do a pool. I'm not sure that I share that conclusion with her based on, I haven't done an extensive analysis, but I've done considerable look, and there are a lot of grants out there, including one called New York Swims. Now, New York Swims does have a component where they will favor,
Right, right.
communities more in need,
Yeah.
but it's not exclusively for them by
Right.
any means.
And we're not really in need.
And I didn't really see that there was
We do have that problem.
there wasn't an analysis of what other swimming or other activities, or there was no inventory
Right.
of what else we have going on. They're talking about putting, playground and everything. I mean, how many playgrounds do we have around here? Maybe we need one, maybe we don't. And so I just think, one, we should do an inventory. For example, Millerton, they're putting in like
Yeah.
an Olympic-size pool or semi-Olympic size.
Yeah, they're doing them.
So they've got that. They've got the grants and everything in place. I mean, if they're doing that, why are we going to replicate that? I don't know. Maybe there's a reason for it. I just don't see the justification in this document.
What, or did you say why are we going to replicate it, or why?
Yeah, why would we? It is,
Right.
I just don't know. I mean, there is no narrative that
Right,
discusses, we
so-
looked at A, B, C, and D, and we're,
right, and part of it that they say in here is, we want to stop Band-Aiding putting Band-Aids on things. But
Not
what is
even
it?
putting
what are,
Band-Aids
what are,
on
yeah,
them.
what Band-Aids? I haven't seen any Band-Aids. So it's like,
They could do that. I mean, I think that Danielle is very frustrated because she believes she does not have the means to fix things, but she's doing them with Matt Purcell.
Mhm.
But, I mean, like they did a fix on the, combination basketball, pickleball court.
Yeah.
But they kind of blacktopped it, and, but it's all like, kind of like, I don't think, and Matt's not a, he's not like a professional basketball court designer or anything. But it's like there's cracks in it and everything, and there's, like you can't really play a good game, when you got cracks in your surface.
yeah, it's not.
And the volleyball court is kind of like on an incline, and it's all like grass, and the nets are awful. Everything. I mean, the other thing that Danielle was telling me, and I don't understand what the impetus is and the urgency is that we have to get on the soccer field. There's like an adult-oriented
Yes.
exercise
yeah.
equipment, and she wants to get rid of it and replace it with child-friendly equipment because there was some guy who was shouting profanities at people that walk around the soccer field, and that some child wasn't being watched by her caregiver and she could have gotten in trouble, and I don't really and that this would be used, but there is another playground that we have by the pool.
Yeah,
And
but you can't go into that without being in the fenced pool area.
understood,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying that how many playgrounds are, and
No, I know.
she's trying to draft a grant for that playground, and I'm not sure. I just don't understand. It seems to me like everything's kind of like willy-nilly, like, why would we even replace the playground when we're thinking about
Doing
designing?
the whole other.
And she's like, well, we're
completely-
not really looking at that area up there, and I'm like, well, why not?
That's what I was a little bit confused about, because last year when this was going on, they're in this planning, they have this committee together, they were doing work they were doing utility work up connected to the building up there, something.
Right. I know
Yeah.
they're
It
doing all
was-
sorts of stuff like that. They're trying to put a kitchen in the building. Oh.
And I looked at it as like, well, if they're possibly doing a pool, it's not that big of a site. It's not that,
Right. Right.
when you're talking things like pools, parking for pools, fields, all that stuff takes up a huge amount of, and it's a weird shape, and it's like,
The
so
topography.
that building right in the middle is probably, if you were to do something substantial to that, like a new, like the Millerton type pool, additional parking, that building that's right in the center would be
That's a
removed.
really good point.
And because
Right,
that's
exactly.
you're going to, either you're going to put the pool over on one side and have the parking on the other, but that like building that's like that a very a very kind of a cheap building that's right in the like prime real estate, right in the middle of the site, is not going to be stay there just because it was there. Like it's made out of plywood and
they got a grant for that building,
Yeah.
and so they're kind of like, I don't know, maybe there's.
But again, yeah, so that's it. That there's the buildings being fixed up, but the building's like dead in the center, and any consultant who comes in there is going to say like, okay, you need,
Deep six.
that thing like right in the middle, that plywood building that you just repaired, like that's like taking up
Prime real
because
estate,
right.
I didn't even think of that, but that's a really excellent point, because I've been so confused about how you design that. The other thing that Danielle said, because she was talking about parking, and the impression I was getting was like, this whole friggin' place is going to be blacktop. And they had just done a re-blacktop on the surface that surrounds the
Yeah.
soccer field and the path that goes down from the soccer field to the park. And I was asking myself, why did you guys blacktop this? And she didn't understand what I mean. She's like, wow, we just decided to do a make look. I'm like, why wouldn't you consider like using a different kind of surface rather than something that's just going to absorb all this heat and runoff, and it's going to be icy in the winter and blah blah blah. They hadn't given it any thought. I mean, it's so I don't know.
Well, and that's one of the issues over there, is that everything's kind of, you have the soccer field area, and there's a very small parking lot for there.
that.
So people pull in, they drop off their kids, and then you go and you park, then
On
you
the
go
other
around
side,
and you
yeah.
park on the other
Right,
side.
exactly.
And then you have to come up. That hill does need to be asphalt because it's a long stretch, so if you did it out of anything else,
You mean the walkway that goes?
the walk that
Between
goes across the bridge.
Between the two parks.
Oh, that has
up
to
the
be
hill.
asphalt. Yeah.
It has to be asphalt, yeah.
Because-
You could, because if it's a slope, and
Right.
so the rain's gonna cut into any non-asphalt, and then it has to be ADA compliant, and so,
So
or
that's why-
that's probably not, it's probably
Yeah.
a little too steep, but
Yeah.
you could have, so it
So
probably.
there may be reasons for doing it.
But
I
again,
don't
it's
know,
it's
but-
one of those things where
Nobody
so
mentioned
the
that.
soccer fields are up there with this small parking lot. Then
Right.
there's like a kind of a fairly unofficial parking lot, which
Yeah.
is a piece of asphalt, and people pull off onto the grass on both sides. And then there's when the pool is open, or the pond pool is open.
It's the pool pond.
Then there's parking that's kind of, but even that parking lot doesn't make any sense because
Well, you should park
it's-
all over the grass.
it's like kind of like you pull off onto the grass, but there's
Right,
not.
no, I
Then
know.
there's a loop down in the far end. The loop's not wide enough to go. So it's that whole property seems to be like there's a bunch of stuff there that's being used, but it's all like a little of it's over here
mishmashed.
and
It's very
Right.
mishmashed.
And a lot of it's just not being used. I mean,
Right.
they had the fishing pond or whatever. I mean, they used to have a paddle boat, and
Yeah, that's
Danielle was saying, well, when I got here, it was broken. And I'm like, so therefore, she interpreted that as like, well, it's not the pond is not usable. And I don't know if that's the conclusion you can necessarily reach. I mean, maybe she's right, but I don't know. I mean, it's just like there are all these decisions being made that I think they have to be thought out as as one piece, like you're saying. Like, you got to think from like everything that's going on
Yeah.
that site. The other thing is like they're talking about parking, and then it turns out like half of the area behind the Terletti's building, maybe more than half, is a septic field. They can't do any parking.
Yeah, you can't do
there.
anything there anyway.
So, I mean, I don't know.
the
I don't
septic
even know. So
field for
could
that
they-
building, for the.
I guess. And there are bathrooms, whatever condition they are in, that serve the people going to the
Right.
pool.
The pool bathrooms,
Yeah.
Right.
which I think is what all
So,
that goes
so
to.
again, when stuff is like built up over time, there's a lot of stuff that sort of conflicts with other
I think that's
other
exactly
other
what's
things.
happening.
Now that big flat space that's septic, if you were to design, if you were to design this park from new, you might have, like the septic might wrap around the
Right.
outside of the parking lot or something in an area that's needed for buffer space anyway, and
Right.
so it's just, when you get the building that's kind of in not a great spot for redevelopment, and then the septic behind it, and that's the issue with doing such a big master plan kind of project, is that it's sort of like everything's connected, and you can't do
Right.
anything until you do something
fix
else, and
something
you can't
else.
do
I
that until you
agree.
do
I
something
think-
else.
And is it really a need or is it a want?
Right.
are they-
That's
is-
the
Well,
question.
I think
Does
that,
anything really need to be changed, or is it just because we want it to be changed?
well, and I think it's like, there are so many things there that are just in disuse that might be used if they were, if they were put in better condition. But I think more like, I think it needs a rethink,
I think it needs a big
because
rethink.
it's so ad hoc, like you're
Right.
saying. It's just been built on top. I think just the whole thing.
Which maybe through the process with them
I
hiring
agree.
the consultant, that maybe that's
No,
what's
I
going to
don't think.
happen.
I think it's gonna. I think that's going to go in a certain direction, and that's my concern. And I think that I don't know if this is on the town website now.
Probably not. No, I don't think they've uploaded this yet.
And I know that there have been, like, they were acting like it couldn't be revealed, even though it's a final report.
Right.
It's a public
It's
document.
It
a
is
public
public,
document, there's no question.
Chrissy did explain to them that it was in her minutes and that it was now a public
This
document.
is the Mike Murphy thing we're talking
Yeah.
about now?
Yeah.
It was presented at a meeting.
Of
So
course.
Chrissy did explain it to them that it is now a public document.
But that
It
should
was
be.
a public, that was the problem, it was a public document when he presented it, and we had to ask for a copy, and I sent it to Margaret, because she's in charge of this stuff here, and we later got a better looking one from Chrissy, which is that one.
Yeah.
That should have been done right away, is it,
Right.
Totally.
according to the open meeting laws. That
Right.
should have been, as soon as he put that on the table, there should have been a finished document so everybody could see it,
Yeah.
and we wasted almost a month.
Is there any sense that taxpayer funds are going to be involved, or is this all
Well,
going to be
This is the
private
other thing.
donation?
This is the other
Be-
thing.
Because if it's private donations, that doesn't raise, in my mind, as many issues as public funds.
I kind of have a different perspective on that, and this is my thinking. We have only one public recreation space in the town of Washington, and that's the town park.
Mm-hmm.
All these other spaces are controlled by private entities that
Correct.
dictate the rules and the types of uses that happen there.
Yeah.
This is the one opportunity that we have to scope out what we want to be done there. I'm concerned that if this proposal goes forward, they, send out their RFP, that's it. I think the public needs to weigh in. I don't think that they've had an adequate opportunity
I would
to
agree
do
with
that.
that.
That's-
Yes.
yeah.
And I
yes.
think that there has to be a lot more outreach. They could have had like an open house down at Town Park, where people could.
They
fill
could
out
have had
surveys.
open meetings so that we could at least
And they
sit
should
in
have
and
had-
listen.
Exactly. I don't know of anything where they identified the time and place of these meetings.
didn't.
These were open meetings.
They didn't.
And I think that the public needs to weigh in a lot more. You cannot from that information find that there's any distinct demand for a single thing,
Mm.
in my opinion. I mean, I think that there were a couple instances in the comments where people try to load it up like at the end with a pool.
Yeah.
But overall, I don't think that there was a demand for that. There was a
Well,
demand,
that
a
pool
lot
was
of
there 50
programming.
years ago, and people were happy with it at the time. There was maintenance problems maybe, but
There are maintenance.
I remember
problems
that
are-
pool when my kids were small,
Yeah,
and people would show up to that pool, and everybody was happy with it.
Yeah.
yeah.
The only people that weren't happy with it were some of the people who were upstream and had to have a little regulation of what they dumped into the water
Yeah.
that drained into it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That was the place across the road mainly that.
My read is that programming, the lack of programming is as much an issue. Like there's nothing scheduled really. I mean, they have the the camp, the swimming camp, that's gonna be a full day thing.
Yeah.
But other than that, there's the toddler program, the preschool program. But for so many other groups of people, for tweens and teens and young adults, and they have tried to get a senior program going, but there's nothing that's really consistent. They really have to do something, and I think also too, we don't want to conflict with these other programs that are happening, such as what the library does or what the Thorn Center might do, or so we want to be able to supplement that rather than compete with it.
That
Right.
makes a lot of sense.
Right.
So what is the town board's role in all of this?
Well, I think my read is that, from what Mike Murphy was making the ask, that we get an RFP to hire that engineer, right? And I mean, I think that I'd be in favor of hiring a consultant to look at the whole
thing.
and
The
come
same
up
as-
with ideas.
The same as we did with the hospitality overlay.
Get input. There
You
was
need
the
to do
comprehensive
that.
plan.
I mean, they've done some work. I get that this committee has done some work.
and kudos to them.
And congratulations,
Yeah.
definitely. But they need that process, that exact same process with somebody who's neutral, technically, and
or has a vision.
has a vision or has the concept of how this should be done to go through it before they just put it out there for somebody
The
to
problem
do.
is, once you put stuff on the ground, this has been my experience at least, buildings and so on, and going back even to New York City, once you put stuff on the ground, it hardly ever goes away, and then
Right.
you're stuck with it, and you have to deal
Yeah,
with it. You don't know where it's going to wind up.
By the way, the secret laws have just been altered, so I have to look at them, but they're making them considerably less restrictive for previously disturbed areas, and I can't tell you exactly
Okay.
what that means. But that kind of goes to Howard's point, I mean, once you,
Well,
mess things
I mean,
up.
I would say, we're not talking about building a smelting plant. It's like it's a town park, and I think that town park is like so pretty constricted compared to, I have kids in sports and we'll go around to different towns and they tend to be larger, and maybe it was, where the original spot might have been a little tight for all of the activities, or
How old
maybe
are your
this,
kids?
8 and 10.
Okay, so yeah.
But sometimes if you go over to Dover, there seems to be like more space and more like, and so a lot of it might be that that's a pretty tight spot, and it's, it might make sense to have a consultant to say like what could be done to improve what we have,
Exactly.
other than and without the what seems to be kind of like, let's do a pool, let's to me, like some of this first thing like is kind of like the public input part was like very preliminary, people
Right.
at a booth,
Yeah.
nothing to look at, there's nothing to look at.
And they did do an online survey, I guess. They said they had 100.
And it is hard to get public input when you can't show them anything, or they're just
Exactly.
so
I think
that
that's
is kind of a challenge.
Yeah.
But you can do that, people do know how to do that, like with hospitality. They have
Hospitality.
pictures of
Yeah,
different things,
yeah.
and
Gave
Right.
choices of
the
how
town
to
just
look
didn't
at it.
follow what people wanted, but that's
And so when you were speaking before, so the park that was, what do they call it? What was newly opened up last year?
in Millerton? Or is
No, in
Oh, in
The Thorn.
the Thorn.
Oh,
the
Bennett,
Thorn, right?
Bennett Park.
Like that's
Bennett Park, okay.
so. But that has a lot of space. But then there's not.
It's all
it-
passive
It's
recreation.
it's very passive, and it's not right. It's not.
Because it's hilly, right? I mean, a lot of it anyway.
And it was limited what you could do there anyway, because it's, again, in an area with the wetland, not wetlands on it, but going into the water system. And
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it could be all those things, but I mean, the village, or whatever. I shouldn't say that because it's not, but yeah, I mean, it's just under private control, which is
Correct.
nice that they've,
Yeah.
what they're doing. But so I think that the town facility has to be a little different. The other thing that I wanted to mention, it's not a cure-all by any means, but the town actually has what they call a fund balance, a substantial fund balance, meaning that they have money, they've over-collected, so and they haven't used that money. I mean, and it varies, depending, but it's probably about easily $1 million. So I think that some of that money is now in a sort of investment account. But I mean, there are, that could be used for something interesting. I'm not saying we spend it all. We should have some kind of, something in the kitty for sure. But, and then there's other ways of funding for things. And I think that the default in this community is to look for private resources because we've had some very generous donors, but I think there's always a trade-off, So.
All right.
And one of the things to your point before about the, even if it is private funding, especially a pool, there's the initial capital cost, and then there's a yearly.
Right.
It's not like a basketball court where it's like you put down the asphalt and put up some lights and some chain link fence, and then that's kind of pretty low maintenance for the next 30 years. Where the pool is pretty significant, constant yearly maintenance. And even here, they'll say, well, they're closing down early because of staffing. Staffing's very tough with pools.
Well, and then there's that they do to us every year. The kids have to go back to school, so they have no lifeguards. And this is just with the pool pond.
Right.
Now what are you going to do when you build this multi-million-dollar facility?
If you get it more use. Right.
And then oh well, we're not going to use it the last month of summer because the kids go back to school. So how do you how do you justify that?
Yeah, I mean, it's,
But I would be curious to look at the Millerton as far as like how that came about, how it's being funded, how much
New York Swims grant for most of it.
New York Swims.
Oh, for most of it, because they're not exactly poor either.
Right, yeah.
So, but again, I'd be curious because the just with the because that's a good.
They also did get some donations.
Right,
too.
right.
I'm actually going to be going to a grants workshop put on by the Association of Towns tomorrow, so maybe I'll learn something.
Oh, cool.
Wonderful.
So,
Okay.
we'll see.
Well, you'll keep us posted on
Yeah,
that.
definitely.
Anything else?
Well, what's our recommendation, if any? If any, do we have a recommendation at this point? Yeah. I mean, for example, this is just an example, I'm not saying it's a recommendation. Is there that much of a need for this in the town, or there's a big need for this in the town, and we have to get on the ball and fix it right away? Because whatever gets done, we're going to have it for a while.
Yes.
And we have to be sure that this is something that really is needed for the town. I just this is a little bit on the aside, but it's the same idea. I'm part of a retired teachers group, and we had I think 450 or 60 people in the union, and I was very active in the union. And the retirees still get together, and they send out emails and so on. And there's something down there called 6N and 6 down there. It's equivalent to 44 and 343 here. And there was some email sent out about a huge traffic jam that's developing on there all the time. They're huge, like 35, 40 cars all the time, and it's almost unusable. When I moved up here, there was a fellow that I was familiar and friendly with who had the same house I had pretty much down there, and pretty much the same salaries as teachers and so on. All of that down there in the Mayapack area and Carmel area is gone. It's almost like living in a big city now.
Right.
We still manage to stay pretty much the same thing. This is, I think, and people don't realize that this whole environment up here is one of the few places left.
That's true.
People come up from the city and they do that stuff. Mayapack is, if you don't know where it is down below here. And then my son lives up in Nassau County, which is outside of Albany, and all of that is moving down. So we're like in the middle still. We still have managed to stay pretty much the way most people wanted to live in this town. And we have to be very careful of making changes. Not just this, but this is one of the few places left. So everybody looks at this as, it's cheaper than XYZ, it's still available, and so on. I'm worried that this can act as a magnet for people to come in here. This is my own concern with this whole project. That do we need to create something that's going to draw a lot more people in here because it exists elsewhere, and will wind up looking like Mayapack looks now, for example.
Well, I think that people have to weigh in on that. I mean, and that's really what I'd like
That's
to hear.
what the public's,
I mean, a lot of people don't
Input
even
is.
see that. Say, oh, we'll have a better pool. That's all they see. They don't see the side effects of all these things cumulatively.
right.
And once you lose this, Mayapack, where I worked for 30 some odd years, is never going to be the same when I started there. Never.
Yeah.
It looks like a cosmopolitan city down there in many places now.
No, I know.
And I grew up in little, I don't know if I should say now in public meeting, I grew up in the Bronx, basically. And it's all got, no, what I'm saying, it's never going to look the way it did when I grew up there.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
That's
Yeah.
the point I'm
Everything
trying to make.
changes
And for most
dramatically.
people, I think they want Mayapack not to be the example of what Millbrook is going to turn into. Most
Right.
people who live up here like it the way it is, pretty much, if you gave them a choice. That's why I live here, I like this, I like that. And people like different things. I mean, what you guys like might not be the thing I like, and where you live might not be where I live, but most people in this town are pretty happy with the way it is still. And it's very fragile. It could be changed in 5 years more, and you wouldn't recognize it.
That's true. And you've probably seen that, too.
And this, to me, could be a precursor of putting stuff in that 5 or 10 years from now you may not like what it looks like anymore, and you may not even need it for having a town that we have. It may be a different town, part of a different town entirely. And people need to consider that. Do you want this town to, how much do you want this town to change? And I think most people live here because they like the way the town is. It's like the village trying to get, did I tell you the story about the village trying to get tasers? They wanted the grants for tasers. It sort of applies to this a little bit. They applied for,
When was this?
fairly recently, I used to go to all the village meetings too, I was part of some committees there. And they wanted to have, the police applied for tasers, a grant. They were turned down. They were turned down because we didn't have enough crime. That says so in the report that they got.
God forbid.
So I told Mayor Rod Brown, you need to get more crime in here, Rod, that should be your job.
So we can get some tasers.
Tasers.
Yeah.
So we could get the taser.
But that's the example. We lived in a village that didn't have enough crime to merit tasers, and people went along with it. They like living here still.
Right.
That's what we have to, that as we as a CAC, since we represent the natural and man-made environment, need to consider, this is what people who live up here are here for in most cases. They like the way the environment is.
It's getting harder to find, too.
And
Yeah.
that's the other thing, they're disappearing, like my Mayapack story.
Yeah.
That's,
Thank you, Howard.
Any motion?
Yeah.
Anything else?
Anything,
Motion?
at this, well, I'll just say briefly, at this point, we won't make a comment about it. We are going to keep it on the books of us thinking about, in the back of our minds, because I don't think at this point we have comments to make to the town.
I would strongly recommend that, you circulate that among the people that you know to get, start getting input. I mean,
Yeah.
we need feedback, and it's almost as if we've been prevented from getting that.
Right. But we're just, at this point, the CAC
Right.
cannot make a recommendation. So we'll leave it at the moment, but it's in the back of our minds for us to work on.
I mean, unless you wanted to say that we need to know more or something like that.
I mean, that would be basically what we would say anyway.
What was their, I'll have to look at it again, their conclusion as far as like their recommendation as the, I didn't see the part where it had said specifically that it was,
Hold on.
Didn't reach conclusions.
I don't
but
think it
made
was really-
recommendations.
I
Yeah.
did see some of the graphs and was trying
Yeah,
to figure that
there was a
out.
little bit of, sorry, just,
I do remember 403B, DC is in there, what somebody said.
Yes.
No, that didn't-
was-
That's
Wasn't in
a major thing to start to put 403Cs in there.
And I just like, that might be the answer. I just don't think they've done their due diligence to come to that conclusion.
I think they just come to the conclusion that they wanted to do it.
Right, that's the feeling that one
That's-
gets,
that's the
that there's a
scary part.
preordained
Right.
outcome.
Yeah. Yeah, their recommendations is long and just, the different non-structurals, the structurals, the long-term actions that they want, to demolish this and start that, and who they are putting on each committee to,
Sounds
they've
like
got a few things,
short-term-
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, it's just got several things that they just want immediate action on and what they wanna kind of accomplish, which is, I don't know if you need to do a whole new park for the things that they have listed.
Sounds like a short-term rentals on steroids to me.
Mm.
How they push that through. That's what I'm afraid of this.
Well, I think that, I mean, if that's your point of view, and I think
That's
it's
my
a very,
point of view.
I think that should be expressed at the next town board meeting, because this will take off if something isn't done immediately. I will certainly make my views known, but I really need the public out there too, I'm just one person.
Yeah.
So if any of you have opinions on that, or other people that have opinions, I think also too that we've got to get this on our website to have people weigh in on it.
Yeah, I don't think anyone knows this is going on, to be honest, to be totally honest. The people on the committee know it's going on, and that's about it.
Right. And there was a little, discussion happening on, Facebook, on mostly Millbrook, but nobody has any information, so they're kind of just
Yeah.
riffing,
Yeah, there's not
Well,
much
one of the
information.
things they did in the past, I'm trying to remember which ones they did. They did it a couple of times. They mailed out mass mailings to the public.
I think it was like in a hospitality.
It was the hospitality.
No, before
The
that.
comprehensive, oh, maybe, yeah.
Yeah,
It was
they could have done
it was
before as
before
well.
that. It was way before that. And that they had very large meetings, I recall, in the school, the auditorium down here, the big auditorium,
Right.
not the school one, the one by the firehouse.
Right, right.
They had very large meetings with.
Oh, yeah,
couple
back
hundred
in the
people
days,
a
yeah.
day. And different sides sat in different places. It was very funny to watch who sat where. But they had large meetings, and none of this is happening.
No, not anymore.
So-
Motion to adjourn, second.
All right.
All in
Okay.
favor?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go turn the machine off.